I mean, can you imagine if our grandmothers and great grandmothers had that kind of standard for everything from the money down to what men are supposed to pay for? Can you imagine how few of us would be here now if that was the standard in the 30s?
You told your man to cash app you some money, but you didn't give him an amount. How much do you expect?
At least 100. 200.
Well, my nails and feet alone is 280. So it better be more than that.
Now, I'm not saying that they didn't have, that hypergamy didn't exist prior, but I'm saying it's just reached such an unrealistic level that it's unsustainable.
Oh, my know what's going on. You better send at least 500. We outside.
At least 500. 500.
500 at least.
In my over 11-year career, I have talked to a lot of men, and one of the things that I found really surprising is that there are a lot of men who do not actually like women. Now, before you jump to conclusions and think I'm saying they're on the deal, they're playing for the other team, I'm not talking about that. They absolutely like what they can get from a woman. They want to be with a woman. But what I'm saying is that there are men who do not actually like women. They don't respect them. They don't see their value. And what I've noticed is the common denominator with these men is that they have an unhealthy relationship with their mother.
In this modern environment that we're all a part of, this kind of video is just a regular Tuesday. We see these kinds of videos all the time. It's just a regular misandry that's become kind of part of the culture. She essentially says that men that don't provide and protect and do the things that men used to do basically hate their mothers. Instead of asking those men, is it that you're not finding what you're looking for, or that you want something and it's just not available? No, that's not the answer. The answer is men are inherently bad.
A woman hating herself gets a man a wife. It gets him a mother to his children. It actively supports the economy and makes families and communities run.
I mean, here's you have women that are willing to settle because they're, a lot of black folk, period, men and women have lost employment. But remember last year in about May, when 300,000 black women lost their employment, all of a sudden you started to see videos where women were now willing to negotiate just because they didn't want to be broke. They wanted some help.
I need front, back brakes, and rotors, right? My vehicle costs, hold up, so y'all don't really think I'm joking. $14,000. Like, should I be laughing today? Should I be crying today?
I started seeing all these videos of women in states where they get snow, talking about I'm sick of, what do you call it? Shoveling snow. I want a man to come shovel my snow. I want a man to come fix my car. I'm tired of it. All of that still doesn't work because that just outlines to me that you want utility out of me. You just want a servant.
If a man was to ever ask me what do I bring to the table, I automatically mentally check out, because it's like if you can't see a value in a woman in itself, then I already know mentally we just not here. Although men have often played that role in a healthy traditional environment, it was always a recyclable relationship. It was, you gave what you got. The domesticity from women, it was in exchange for the resources from men. I'm not driving to the grocery store, grocery shopping, loading it onto the conveyor belt, bagging it, loading it back into my cart, pushing that cart to my car, loading it into my car, driving home, unloading those groceries outside of my car into my home, putting them away, and then making a meal. I'm not doing that. I'm going to give me something to eat. It was not a one-way street. And what you have now is a lot of selective traditionalism from women where, women expect very superficial ideas about men providing and protecting. And it's gotten out of hand. Because why do I have to explain A, Y, and Z, put out a whole list and try to convince you why I'm worthy to even be around you, sit with you or whatever, and talk about what do I bring? I'm not even going to explain it, because the men who get it.
You're over 40, you go on a first date. Everything is going well. The conversation is flowing. There's chemistry. Then the bill comes. It's quiet.
Because the real question is he paying? Are we going 50-50? And I mean, at this age, we can pay.
Selective traditionalism from women.
But should we? Is chivalry still alive?
A woman in itself, a good woman, I'm only speaking about a good woman in itself, you should see the value in having a woman, having a partner. What she can create, what she can build, what she can mold, what she can, you know what I mean? The power within. And if you can't see that, and I gotta explain to you and try to convince you, you can go on about your business. Back to the playground you go.
Selective traditionalism from women.
I can't do the festivities. I just can't be outside with a baby.
You're putting the festivities ahead of your baby?
Yeah, because I just...
You can't do that. You know that. Please, you're not thinking straight. You're thinking money. You're thinking festivities, thinking fun. You think about God's grace as a baby. You have maybe out of a good luck. It doesn't matter, sweetheart. You have a little baby and you have to he'll be the joy of your life.
I can't do the festivities. I just can't be outside with a baby.
You should see the value in having a woman, having a partner. What she can create, what she can build, what she can mold.
But what I'm saying is that there are men who do not actually like women. They don't respect them. They don't see their value. And what I've noticed is the common denominator with these men is that they have an unhealthy relationship with their mother.
He had sex with my mama. Why?
What's up, boy? Snap.
The biggest.
Women expect very superficial ideas about men providing and protecting, and it's gotten out of hand. It means that if you're on a bus and you know there's a strange woman you don't know, you're supposed to protect her from a potential threat, even at the loss of your life. On the first date, you're supposed to pay this woman's rent that you just met.
So what are some of the outlandish things that you feel women have asked you for?
Trips, TVs.
Someone asked you for a TV?
Oh yeah, recently.
Like, was it someone you just dating?
No, we went out once and then I actually was gonna take her out again, but she wanted me to purchase her a damn TV. Excuse my language. She get into a car accident and she totaled her car at the time. She ended up, throughout the relationship, I was trying to tell her how to manage her money and trying to help her and everything, but she always wanted me to give her money, right? So she gets into this accident. She called me up. She totaled her car, and then she get a total on her car, her 10 grand. She tell me she needs $10,000 to get us her fix.
At least 500 or 1,000. Are you kidding me?
All right, I only with scammers, so it's got to be 1K or more. That's the minimum, dog.
On the first date, you're supposed to pay this woman's rent that you just met. They have if you're at a table of 10 women at a restaurant and the bill comes to $3,000 because you're the only man there, you're supposed to pay for everybody. The ideas about traditionalism have gotten so out of whack that it's just become man pay for anything we tell you to pay for. And that's never how traditionalism worked. One, traditionalism meant I provided for my wife and family. I protected my wife and family. The reason it looked like men protect women is because in this environment, we all had families. In those families, men played a certain role for their families.
Know why you acting like cause you leaving out the door like we ain't gonna finish talking about this cause no I don't, but we're gonna go back to the first day we ever had our first argument, cause yes, it's important.
God, if you listen, help!
What are you doing? Like, let him sit down and eat.
What you mean? Hold on, no. See, that's the problem. You intervene. Hey man, take the trash out, man.
Stop eating.
Listen.
Come back here.
Stop double parenting.
Nothing out.
Stop double parenting. I done told you about that. He can wait. He can. He'll wash his hands. He can wash his hands. Stop double parenting.
You can get up out of here.
I miss when men used to protect, provide, and shut up. Protect, provide, and shut up.
In this environment, we all had families. In those families, men played a certain role for their families. Now, I may help out. If I live next door to Dr. L and he's not home yet and there's a threat against his daughter, yeah, I may step in, but that was a courtesy because we understood the roles we played, but the focus was on our own families. Women have taken that idea and said all men need to protect all women and need to provide for women, period. And that's just it, and that's never been how it's been. But even when we were doing that, we had that kind of dynamic, men got something out of the exchange. Now, the idea, which is so arrogant unto itself, is that after all this labor that you're supposed to provide, I am inherently worth all of it because I exist as a woman. That's it. I'm just here. And, because I exist, you should feel that you got everything you need.
So how long are you in Paris for?
Girl, I got 48 hours for my husband to find me, okay? I need him. Paris, husband, right here. Ain't no ring right here. Come on, help me out. Find your girl. Find a man who finds a wife. That's a good thing.
Selective traditionalism from women.
A man who finds a wife. That's a good thing.
At this season age, is it still appropriate to date multiple men at the same time?
Girl, yes, you're not dead. Absolutely. You can date multiple people at the same time. You just want to be respectful, right?
Okay.
And you want to be transparent.
But I feel like with multiple men, girl, I can barely remember the name of one man. So you got to give me tips.
That's what the Notes app is for in your phone, Sherry. Put the name, put what they like, what they did for work, where they took you to eat, so that way you don't get the names mixed up.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good tip.
At this age, we can pay, but should we? Is it about independence or is it about intention? Is chivalry still alive?
I miss when men used to protect, provide, and shut up.
I am inherently worth all of it because I exist as a woman. That's it. I'm just here. And, because I exist, you should feel that you got everything you need. No. And I think for many men, that's not enough. But yeah, so I think we've gotten to a point where, we might be, past the line of repair. It may, maybe in a future generation, we'll see something change on a massive level. But I think at this point, it's going to require women to come to it in a very different way. And I have not seen the evidence yet that there's enough goodwill to do so. What I've heard is a doubling down of men need to do more. Men aren't protecting, they're not providing. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, especially when you start talking about passport bros, which people have seemed to simply limit to prostitution. I'm like, I'm meeting brothers that are getting married in Brazil. I don't know what you talking about. I'm not denying the prostitution angle of it for some men, but I am seeing significant long-term relationships and marriages happening with women out of the country.
Have you ever seen Blasians? They are so gorgeous. Like, what?
And they are often not bringing them back here. So I'm like, yeah, keep pushing. Because you'll notice, even though black men are far from the wealthiest men in the world, you'd be surprised how many women from different cultures want black men and talk about black men and would like to be with black men.
Future single mother. I'm Korean. Let's reacting to hate comments I got. Future single mother. That stereotype is getting old. It's 2026 now. Too boring. At least be a little creative, Something funny. And this mud shock is not even supposed to be used for Asians, so what's the point? Horrible decision. This won't work out and you will have a horrible experience. So, are you a fortune teller? I mean, seriously, if so, can you tell me at what age I'm gonna be balling? I need to know that. Dating is fine, but don't have kids. Don't pollute the gene pool. I just can't believe that 139 people like this comment. Every gene is beautiful. Seriously. Have you ever seen Blasians? They are so gorgeous. Like, what? Have you ever seen Blasians? They are so gorgeous. Have you ever seen Blasians? They are so gorgeous.
At this point, there's really no need to sell Passport Bros or SYSBM. Either you're the kind of guy who thinks you have one life to live and you should live it the way you feel is best for you and go somewhere where young ladies want to be with you and not giving you a penalty because you are an innate terrible person because you're a man, and then you're a double oppressor because you're a black man who in some instances is oppressed, but in other instances you're the white men of the black community and you're expected to protect and provide without having any authority. Well, that's just not a very good sell for a large number of men, a growing number of men. And so when you hear this young lady, she's essentially vouching for her man. She's speaking against apparently white men's comments of don't date black men because they're going to make you single mothers, and talking about mud sharking. And really, the beauty of all of this is that you can just find someone where you get to start at zero. I mean, it's really a pretty simple idea, really, when you hear Dr. Hasan Johnson speak of the change in what is expected in terms of traditionalism. What you have is liberal young ladies of Western countries and even some Eastern countries that are asking for max traditionalism, but they're not providing any of the things that men want. Do you want children? I don't want children. Do you want me to be chaste? I'm not going to just date you. Do you want me to do anything for you that's any kind of semblance of traditional? No, that's oppression. But you get me. Well, what is the me that you're getting? And so now we're in this new world where there really aren't any rules for young ladies. We know that. But now men are starting to understand that there are no rules for us as well. And we can test new waters and try new places, because simply put, if women that are priding themselves on not being traditional are demanding traditional behaviors from men, then men have every right to say, well, I will be traditional only for a traditional young lady. And if you're non-traditional, then you get a non-traditional relationship. Fair is fair, right? Welcome to the new world. Young ladies and feminism tossed all of the rules of dating out of the window. Now men are just adjusting. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Catch the next video. Take care, guys.